Hey guys, Jason here with the One Stop How To Guys, bringing you episode 1 of a brand new series all about game development with THREEjs. So what is THREEjs? Well, essentially all it is a JavaScript library for WebGL. Now that might not be very helpful. So what is WebGL? Well, what WebGL does is it bridges the gap between a modern web browser and the graphics card on your computer. So what does that mean for us? That means high-end 3D graphics running in a regular old web browser. So this means that we can create all kinds of cool 3D things, from interactive websites to 3D advertisements, or in this case, 3D game development. So why not write in WebGL directly? Why even use THREEjs? Well, WebGL is sort of still in its infancy stages. It's been around for a little while, but even to write code just to add a box to the screen, you need to define all of the vertices, add a shader, add the object, and a simple action like writing a cube could take about 100 lines of code. So what THREEjs does is it simplifies that process and just kind of makes WebGL a little bit easier to work with. So that's why we're going to be using THREEjs. It's an awesome platform and it works really well. So what we're going to do in this episode is kind of get our project set up, get some of the things we need so that we can start game programming right in our web browser. Now there's 2 items that I'm going to need you to download before we get started. First of all, we're going to need to download THREEjs, and you can get that from THREEjs.org. Sometimes the download can take around 2 minutes depending on how fast your internet connection is, so make sure that you pause this video if you need to and download that. The other thing that we're going to use is require.js, and this is just going to help simplify the process of including all of our JS files that we're going to have. So make sure that you get require.js and THREEjs. So if you need to, pause this video and download those. Okay, once you have those, we need to add them to our new project. Now, I've gone ahead and put on our web server, if you've followed the Practical Drupal Development Series at all, it's going to be in that same htdocs folder that we were building that website on. Now, the reason why we're doing it here is because when you're running locally, the internet browser doesn't like to work with your image files. So we need to put these on a server so that the browser will actually read those image files. So we're going to use our local host like we did in that series. Now, I've gone ahead and created a folder on my htdocs called 3. Now, you can name it whatever you want. This is going to be your game, so name it whatever you want. I just named mine 3. Now, in here, we're going to set up a couple of folders. Now, the first folder is going to be for our CSS sheets, so we'll call that CSS. We're going to create another folder here for our JS files. And we're going to create one more folder here for our image files. Now, we're not going to be worrying about the images or the CSS folder for now, and you really don't have to worry too much. There's only going to be a couple lines of CSS within the entire project, but we're going to need that in a separate file just to keep things clean. So now, in our JS folder, we're going to create 2 more folders, one of which we're going to call game. Now, this is where we're going to store all of our custom JS files. Anything that we write, from players to levels, are going to be found within this game folder. The other folder that we're going to put in here is going to be our libraries folder. Now, this is going to store any third-party JS that we have. So, for instance, right now, all we're going to have is the THREEjs and the require.js. So in that folder, we're going to create one more new folder. I know this is getting a little ridiculous, and we are going to call this 3, and that's where we're going to put our THREEjs, and we're going to create another one called require, and that's where we're going to put our require.js. So first of all, let's pop into require, find where you downloaded or saved the require.js file, and just drop it on in there. All right, we're going to move into the 3 folder here. find where you've downloaded THREEjs. I have a couple of versions. Here is release 68, which is what we're going to use. Navigate into that folder, go to build, and then grab 3. We're going to use the entire unminified version so that we have a little bit of ease of writing our code. Now, when we launch the game or when we're finished with the game, we're going to move over to the 3min. So that's what we need in our folder structure. So now we can pop open brackets or whatever text editor you would like. I have gone ahead and set my brackets to my 3 folder where our game is going to be. We're going to create a new file and we are going to save it and we are going to call it index.html. And we're going to just set up the basic framework of an HTML file. So we're going to get our HTML tags, we're going to get our head tags, and then we're going to get our body tag in here. All right, so that's set up. Now, we're not going to link in our style sheet yet because we haven't created it. But we're going to include our scripts right here in the body. So our source is going to be JS, libraries, require.js. So that's the first one we're going to include right there. Get that back up on that line. We're going to create a script tag for JS, libraries, 3.js. All right, now those are the only ones that we have here. And we are going to include one more. We're going to create a new file, and we're going to save this. And we're going to navigate into JS, game, and we're going to call this main.js. And this is where all of the action is going to happen. This is where we're going to start. We're going to start the game, we're going to update the game, we're going to render the game, but we'll cover all of that in the next tutorial. I just want to get that set up so that we have it, and then right under the 3.js here, we're going to create one more script, and we are going to go to JS, game this time, and main.js. And that's going to do it. If we open up that file now, so let's go ahead and open up, we'll go into 3, and we'll open up the index file. And if we inspect the element, we should see that there are no errors, so everything's working just fine. And in our body, we have our 3 required items there that we wanted. Now, the thing is with this, if we do not remove this call and make this local host, and we can just call 3, it's still going to read as if we were doing it locally. So make sure that you're going to your local host / that file. Otherwise, you'll have everything set up right and the images still won't work. So that is the setup. We know that we don't have any errors, so everything is working just fine. This is going to do it for the first episode because I don't want to do too much. I just wanted to get the files downloaded and the folder structure set up so that in the next episode we can just start coding this game and get it going. But that's going to do it for this one. So if you like this episode, make sure you give it a like, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next episode of One Stop How To Guys Game Development with THREEjs. Later, guys.